Hey everybody, so as promised, I am doing a video on how to sell t-shirts on Etsy using Printful. So this is like a drop shipping relationship. So the t-shirts are sold on Etsy, but Printful does the shipping and the printing. And you're kind of like the middleman. But this is a little different than print on demand. A lot of us are so used to merch by Amazon and Spreadshirt where when a sale is made, we just get our royalties sent to us. This is a little different because there are three parties involved in this case. So it's a little bit more complex, but I definitely think it's worth trying. And so in this video, I'm going to break it up into two parts because it's going to be way too long for one video. Each video is going to have three parts. So in this first video, I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons, and there are some, pretty notable cons for this, so you definitely want to stay tuned for that. I'm also going to talk about how it works, what fees are involved and all that. And then I'm going to offer some very specific advice on choosing the theme of your shop for Etsy, which is very, very important, especially if you're like me and your shop is on a topic that you don't have an audience for. I discovered my topic from selling on Merch by Amazon this year, and I don't have a website, I don't have an audience, and so all my traffic and sales have come from Etsy.com. So doing the research in the beginning really, really, really impacts how much organic traffic you're going to be able to get from Etsy. Okay, so that's going to be part 3 of this first part. In the second video, I'm going to be talking about how to create your shirt and publish it to Etsy, which is very simple, very cut and dry. I'm also going to talk a little bit about ads on Etsy. And finally, I'm going to talk about sales tax. A lot of these Printful videos that are out now and Etsy videos are not talking about sales tax at all. So there are people out here making money, not realizing they're supposed to be collecting sales tax and then reporting those taxes. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So that's going to be part 2. So let's get started with part 1. Let's begin by talking about the pros and the cons of all this. So the pros. It's fairly easy to set up. It's not going to take you long at all. There were a couple of steps that I missed that I will make sure you don't miss when I was setting up my store. So we'll go over that. You set your own profit margins, so you have full control over how much you earn. Same way with other print-on-demand sites where you set your margin. There is no shipping or printing that you have to deal with. Printful does all that for you. And finally, there are multiple products to choose from. You can choose hats, you can choose hoodies, long sleeves, t-shirts, phone cases, and they're constantly adding new products. Now let's talk about the cons. Long shipping times. The products don't typically ship until 7 or 8 days after the order is placed. I actually bought one of my own shirts and I purchased it on the 18th. I didn't receive it until the 31st. It's not like Merch by Amazon where you've got that prime 2-day shipping. No. And that could be a deterrent for some of your customers. So that's a turnoff to some people. The other con, I mentioned this before, sales tax. It's very, very confusing. And honestly, I think if you want to do this, you need to talk to a local CPA first so you fully understand how to handle the taxes, because the taxes will vary depending on where you live and where your customers are. And then the other con is that unlike print on demand, you have to pay for the base price of the shirt as soon as the sale is made. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Another con is you have to keep an eye on your Printful account because sometimes their inventory runs low or runs out, and you'll have to pause or hide your listings. So as you can see, this requires a little bit more work than print on demand. Definitely something to consider if you want to get into this. Now, let's talk about exactly how this works. So you've got your Etsy shop online, right? You've got your t-shirts listed. When a sale is made, Etsy sends a notification to Printful. It takes about 30 minutes. Printful immediately charges you, yes you, for the base price of the shirt so they can print it and ship it. Then a few days later, Etsy sends you the full price of the shirt. That includes your royalty, minus a 3.5% fee that they take on all orders. And every t-shirt listing or every listing on Etsy in general costs 20 cents every 4 months. So 60 cents per year per listing. So let's run over this again. Let's say the base cost of the shirt is $16. That's Printful's cost, okay? and you want a $10 margin, profit margin. So you sell the shirt on Etsy for $26. When a sale is made, Printful deducts $16 from your account. A few days later, Etsy sends you $26 minus 3.5%. So whatever that is, it's like $25 and some change. So the leftover is your profit. And then don't forget about your 20-cent listing fee that's renewed every 4 months. Okay, so those are your costs. Now let's talk about choosing the theme for your store. Now, before I get into this, let me just say this. You don't have to follow my advice for staying focused with your theme and choosing or creating a niche shop. But I'm giving you guys this advice based on what I've done. Now, my shop is only about 2.5 months old. It's not very old, but I had fairly quick success with this. And one of the reasons I did is because I kept my shop very, very focused to one audience. I think when a lot of people start shops, they want to sell everything. Oh, I want to sell motorcycle shirts. I want to sell nurse shirts. I want to sell all these kinds of different shirts because you think more is better. But when you have a focused audience, very much like building a website, your conversions are better. So if someone, let's say they like a shirt you have and it's related to motorcycles, when you upload another motorcycle shirt, they're more likely to be interested in that. So you'll know what your customers want because all your products are related. So I would highly recommend that you have a niche shop, meaning you target a specific person. Maybe it's new moms. Maybe it's motorcycle riders. Keep it niche. That's my suggestion. Not saying that there aren't people out there that are doing well without that. I'm just saying that's what I did. And what I'm going to introduce you to right now is a very, very cool tool called Etsy Rank. It's free and it has premium versions. And what you can do is you can use it. It's like a bunch of tools in one site, but you can use it to check the ranking of the products in your store. You can check demand. And I use this for coming up with my idea for my shop. So how I came up with my idea was I'm already selling on Merch by Amazon. And this year I discovered a t-shirt niche that I've been selling in. So I started researching on Etsy to see what the competition is like. And so that's when I discovered Etsy Rank. Actually, one of my students in my private group, shout out to Betsy, she told me about this tool and it's been really, really helpful. What you do is you have to log in, you need to create an account. It's free and they have a pro version, but I don't have the pro version. I just have the free version. So let's say you're thinking about doing a shop on motorcycle shirts. So I just searched for motorcycle shirts inside Etsy Rank, and it gives you a lot of data. The statistics here show that there are 13,000 listings found, 9 hearts, average views 83, average price $20 for the shirt, or for products that show up with that keyword. It's got high competition, medium demand, and medium engagement. The two I care about the most here are the competition and the demand. Now they've got a tag cloud here that shows you all the keywords that are related to that. So the larger the keyword, the more it's used or the more it's searched for on Etsy. So it's helpful to get keyword ideas here. But here's the table that I use the most. And this is what really helped me with my shop. And this is very important, you guys, because if you're like me and you don't already have a website or an audience that's relevant or related to your shop, you're going to have to rely on Etsy for your traffic. And that's why I'm not sharing my store, because this is competition, right? I don't have any way to draw people to my store other than free Etsy traffic and ads. But this is exactly what I use to come up with my idea. Looking at this right away, I can tell you this is not a good idea. I would not target this keyword because motorcycle shirt, while it has a good frequency, which is like, I look at that as search volume, the competition is high. Motorcycle shirts, high. Motorcycle t-shirt, competition high. Now, you might say, should I look at motorcycle or should I just look at motorcycle shirts? My thing is you want the most targeted buyers possible. So you need to look at keywords that are going to convert the best for you. And if you're selling shirts, you want to look at shirt keywords. Now, will somebody type in motorcycle on Etsy and possibly want to buy a shirt too? Sure. But I think it's best to focus on the t-shirt keywords and the variation. So you're looking at motorcycle shirts, motorcycle shirt, motorcycle t-shirt, And I would say no to this because it's just too competitive. So let's look at donut shirt. Now, this looks a lot better. Medium competition, medium demand. We've got some keywords here, donut shirt, funny donut shirt. So let's look at our table down here. Yes, now this looks a lot better. Donut shirt's got a frequency of 36. Now, with the frequency, basically how many times this keyword has been in the top 100. Okay, so the higher, the better. And then the competition is medium. That's not bad. Now, it's going to be difficult to find a frequency for a keyword that's like 85 and has low competition. That's just going to be very difficult for shirts, I think. Now, if you find something, great. But I will just say for mine that my frequency was about in the 20s, I think, and then the competition was very low. So I would say try not to go above medium competition. If you do, you're going to really have to advertise your shop some way, whether it's off of Etsy somehow with social media or maybe buy ads or something like that. So you want to look for low and very low, but definitely not higher than medium. If you look here, funny donut shirt, low, donut tee, very low, donut shirt, medium. There's some decent low competition here. Now, the frequency, as you can see, for some of these keywords, it's fairly low. I personally would want to look for a term that had a little bit higher frequency for some of these shirt terms. This might be a little on the light side, if I'm honest. However, one of my keywords that I'm targeting in my shop, it has a low frequency. It's like at 7. And I was able to get traffic to that listing organically on Etsy by just tagging my design. So don't get too scared by a very low frequency. As long as one of the terms has a decent frequency like this donut shirt, then you might want to try it. And you got to remember, there's not a lot of cost to doing this. The only cost is the 20-cent listing fee initially. So that's all this is going to cost you. So if you have to, maybe test out a couple niches, that's okay. You might have to do that. And you can also scroll down here and see what shops are ranking first for that particular keyword. So you can get an idea of what's selling. So I would highly recommend you do that because you can say, oh, okay, so these are the kinds of t-shirts that are selling. Here are the prices and that kind of thing. And it also tells you the keywords that they're targeting. So you can research these different keywords as well to get other ideas. This is a very, very, very good tool. So definitely spend time in this area. I think this is the most important part, especially if you're like me and you don't have an audience for the topic that you're selling on, because the better keyword you choose, the less you'll spend in advertising. Hopefully you won't have to spend on advertising at all, and you'll be able to get free traffic from your listings by titling them appropriately and using the right tags. And when I say tags, I mean these tags that describe each listing. And so when you create your listings, the idea is you create listings that use these keywords that have low and very low competition. So you want to set up your shop so you're focusing on low competition keywords. And that's what I did. And it seemed to help me get success fairly quickly. Now, I'm not making thousands of dollars a month, but I've had a good handful of sales in a very short amount of time. Now, did I spend money on ads? I did a little bit. Spending money on advertising is not necessary. And if you do this part well and find a good keyword, then you might not have to spend any money at all. So take your time on this part. It'll be worth it. And remember, you're not going to find a perfect keyword. Make sure just one of the shirt keywords has a decent frequency and competition, like this one. Ideally, I would like this to say low. Medium isn't bad, but you want to look for low and very low. Okay, so that's it for this video. The next video, I'm going to be talking about creating your shirt on Printful and publishing it to Etsy, ads, and then taxes. Boo. So I'll talk to you in the next video.